I'm back. I put Grayson outside in his cage on that side porch. It's wet and rainy, and they all wet, and I don't be trying to clean up over here. But anyway, I saw a post on Twitter many years ago. I met this guy named Max Konner. I don't know if that's his real name or stage name. We call him Max Konner. He very attractive guy. He was at the gym working out. This was some time ago, and we were talking very briefly. Man, we had a little conversation. Later on, as I was working, another guy came to me and said, "Hey, I saw you talking to Max." I said, "Oh yeah, he's a nice looking guy." I said, "I've seen him before. He's a really nice guy." He said, "Well, he's a porn actor. He has sex with all these white guys in porn." And I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, I didn't even think the guy was gay. He was like, I said, "You sure?" I said, because I literally, I was like, "This nigga lying. This is not true." Because I'm looking at this attractive guy in this gym working out. Doesn't look gay to me. And I most definitely didn't think he was a porn actor who was on film allowing white men to penetrate him. Or, so the guy went on his phone and showed me. So I kind of looked and I said, wow, why would this guy get himself involved in that type of lifestyle? And I was just kind of taken aback, like, this is real. And I kept meeting all these attractive, handsome guys. Yeah, it's a bunch of handsome, attractive guys who are doing this pornography and escorting and prostitution. And you just have to wonder what led them down this path. But anyway, he did a post this weekend. And I'm going to read y'all what he wrote. It was about, he's having some issues in his life. That if he don't make a change, he's going to be dead. Y'all been around in the gay community going on 30, 40 years here in Atlanta. Include my time in Cincinnati, Ohio, about 35 years. I done seen so many of these guys die. Because, where did the post go? Let's see. No, not. I know I saved it. Oh, hold on. Here it is. So he wrote a post. He posted on Twitter. He's Max Konner, MaxKonnor. That's probably a stage name. He said, "This is long, but I feel ready. This is long, but I feel ready to share because someone needs to hear this. After being sober from meth for over 9 years, I recently found myself fighting another addiction. Cocaine was introduced to me a few years ago now, and it slowly crept its way into my life more and more. So you already had a meth addiction, and then someone came along and said, 'Hey, try some coke.' Where do you do that at? If you have an addiction that you fighting or have fought and got rid of, you don't introduce no other drug into your system because guess what? You're going back to be an addict again. An addiction is a very hard habit to kick. For many people, it starts off like Max. He had a 9-year addiction. He was clean from meth for 9 years. And then all of a sudden somebody introduced coke to him. Back on about that was insane. I would have never touched that coke. But let me continue to read. And these, I got some years experience with this stuff, dealing with so many friends and family members who have gone down these paths, leaving fucking drugs alone. Cocaine was introduced to me a few years ago, and it slowly crept its way into my life more and more. Emotional stress, worries of work, and meeting expectations fueled my hunger to escape. My addiction got worse and worse. It affected my work, my relationships, my energy. I secluded myself. Set my house alone day after day, slipping deeper and deeper into this dark abyss of addiction and depression that made me ashamed, embarrassed, and as a result made me more lonely than I already was. Once again, I had to choose me in life and start my personal journey to recovery. I'm 2 months sober, 2 months. And I'm finally starting to enjoy me again, and I have no regrets. I'm sharing this story because if you're reading this, anyone reading this is battling addiction, you are not alone. You have no reason to be ashamed or embarrassed, even though it seems everyone around you is self-consumed. There are people who care for you and there for you. I'm also writing this as a fuck you to shame and a testament to life. It's another testimony to add to my amazing life as a porn actor. Amazing life, nigga, please. You can beat addiction. Your life is more than just being alive. You can live life abundantly into the fullest. Your loved ones believe in you, and most importantly, this is a test to believe in yourself. Keep fighting, you get so much better. Okay, so let me state this. Yeah, I had to walk away from large parts of the black gay community in my early 20s. As I met gay men and got involved in criminal activity and started down a path that ended me up in prison, I said, okay, I got to leave these homosexuals alone or my life will be destroyed. After I got out of prison, all my friends were on coke, and this was in the early 90s. They were all on all these heavy drugs and stuff. I was like, oh, going to prison definitely saved my life because I was separated from these group of niggas. Ignorant niggas that I should have never been around. Max, if you're going to change your life, you got to give up what you're doing, baby. You got to walk away from that porn. You got to walk away from that escorting. You got to walk from that prostitution. And all those people that are around you who do this stuff, that support you and say they love you because they like watching you have sex on film, you need to cut all that out. You got to do 300. You got to get as far away from that lifestyle as you possibly can, or you're going to continue to have these addiction issues. The porn lifestyle is not easy, y'all. You know how many porn people I personally knew who were doing porn who are dead now? Drug addiction, suicide. I mean, it was just amazing. I sat back and I looked at these attractive guys and I said, what happened here? Why went they? What took place here? What took place in their lives that was so destructive that led to their demise in their 20s? Many guys I met in the early 90s, you have to remember HIV was running rampant back then, and y'all doing porn, raw porn on top of that. All those guys, and I sit here and think about all those guys I knew who were doing porn and escorting, they're all dead. Many of them died from AIDS or drug addiction or overdosing. A lot of them died from suicide because they were so depressed, and like he wrote in there, so lonely. Why would a handsome man like that be so lonely? What are you doing in your life that you feel so lonely that you have to isolate yourself from everybody? Leave that pornography alone. Max, you're never going to fix this problem as long as you're still doing porn. And all these young folks I see getting into this fans only or only fans and doing amateur porn and all that stuff, they don't know the dangerous path they're going down. They're doing porn. They're doing massaging. They're doing escort. They don't have no clue where their lives are going to end. I mean, it's funny because a lot of gay people say, wow, you're just an old man. Yeah, I'm 53 in a few days. I made it. A lot of people I know did not make it. They were gone. I mean, y'all, it was so many guys that I knew that I would just sit back in shock. I have these photo albums. I'm not even photo albums. I'm moving this house. They're in somewhere. I have these big boxes of photo albums. Where are those photo albums? On the basement. And I need to move them out of that basement and put them someplace where I need to move up to the top floor. On paper, you know, a lot of those guys, the gay community, y'all, can be disgusting. They take these porn actors and escorts and nude people who take nude pictures of themselves. They take all this stuff, they splash it. They put these people on a pedestal and make them feel like they're celebrities. And Max Konner, a lot of people put Max on this pedestal. I was reading all these comments and stuff. But not one person said, hey, Max, you need to get the fuck up out of this industry that you're stuck in. It's time to leave this shit alone. You've been doing this for decades now. Enough. If you want to live a normal life without battling addiction, you need to get his pornography up. Not one person says that. I was surprised. It was all other porn actors. Yeah, you're going to be okay. Yeah, they're all people. I'm reading them comments. These some sick old people. Not because they were giving him support, but because no one said, man, you got to make some better decisions and fast. You going down a path where you suffering from drug addiction and depression. You beat meth. Now you battling coke, and you back on drugs again. Do you not know the path that you're going down? You have to separate anybody going through addiction who has battled addiction will tell you have to separate yourself from everything, places, people, organizations, clubs, anything that fueled your addiction in the past. People, places, situations, relationships. You have to cut it all off. All off. When I see some guys I know who battle drug addiction, I notice that they have separated themselves. They had to literally separate themselves from everything so they could live a normal life. I guess some people, it's hard for people to understand that. I'm not exactly sure why, but it is. It's really hard for people to understand that they need to begin the process of, I don't know. It just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. They need to begin the process of separating themselves from certain stuff. I think that would probably make the most sense. But, again, everybody has to make their own decisions. Everybody has to make their own decisions in lives and what you plan on doing with your life. Because life can be very complicated. Life can be real hard. And some people don't understand that. Life can be very complicated. And if you allow your life to continue down that path with this porn and the escorting and the prostitution, you never. I don't know, because some of these porn actors have to get up the courage to. They use drugs as a Band-Aid almost to help them get through the day with the things that they're doing. To help them get through the day, they use those drugs. I'm not exactly what's the benefit of it all, but they use them damn drugs. They love them damn drugs. It makes you wonder. It does. It just makes you wonder, what do they see in these damn drugs? Why so many people use these damn things? But people use them. They love them. They love them. I've never had a drug addiction. I don't do marijuana. I don't do cocaine. I've never done meth. I've never done cocaine. Never done meth. Never did crack. Ecstasy, Molly. None of that shit. Why? I started destroying my own family members and friends. I saw what my aunt went through. I saw what my sister went through. I saw what all my friends were going through. And it didn't look pretty to me. I'm talking about seeing handsome guy. I'll never forget this doctor I knew. When I first moved to Atlanta, I met this doctor, a doctor who worked at that time was Georgia Baptist Hospital. And I'll never forget this because he was the first person I met that purchased rental properties in the old 440. He got this shit for nothing. This was in the early 90s. He bought this stuff for nothing. And, well, back then, I don't know what he paid for. It had to be very inexpensive because this was the early 90s. He had all these buildings that he had apartments in and he rented out. And I remember he showing me this stuff. And I was saying, wow. He's a little bit older than me. Like, well, I was probably about my early 20s. He's probably in his 30s. A few years after that, this man, not too long after I met, I wasn't his type. Of course, I was never anybody's type back then. And he made me known I wasn't really something he's interested in. He had an interest in more urban characters. I've heard that many times, y'all. I was never one of these urban street people. But he began dating these guys. That man this was a doctor. The man lost everything. When I would see him at the clubs, he was high, drunk. They were driving his car. They had wrecked his nice car. He lost those properties. It was just a fucking nightmare. And I remember thinking, damn, what the fuck happened to your ass? From going to be an attractive guy, that he started hanging around these thug-like gay guys, and he got hooked on drugs. He got hooked on them drugs. Y'all, I'm telling you. I watched somebody's life get destroyed. That was one of many people's lives I've seen destroyed by these drugs. Many people. He's dead now. I remember, I forget, but in the mid-2000s, I never forget, he never said, do you remember Dr. So-and-so? I said, yeah, I remember that guy. He died of a drug overdose. I said, oh, Lord, this man is dead. But he had crashed and burned so bad, lost his home, medical license. It was bad. It was really bad. That's why I stay away from these gay guys. I keep my fucking distance. I'm not stupid. Yeah, I'm proud. I'm black. I'm gay. But there's something about this lifestyle that will kill you if you're not watching these niggas. I mean, people seem to think that black people, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure why, but people seem to think that, people seem to think that this lifestyle is easy. When you're surrounded by guys, that's all they can, every day, all they focus is on sex and drugs. That has been my biggest issue. I had to separate myself from so many gay people. All they wanted to focus on was sex and drugs. 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 That's it. There was nothing else they wanted to do. They didn't want to talk about careers or doing anything or owning real. I mean, just literally sex and drugs. It's gotten better in the community, but in many instances it's gotten worse. You're still taking our most brightest, handsome, attractive individuals and destroying their lives. So glad I was the ugly duckling back then. Thank God. Couldn't get a man. Lucky I was. Yeah, I'm so grateful about that. The people behind, you're not my type. I was a little skinny kid, nerdy. Apple computer. When everybody was like, what is that? I had no Apple computer back then. They didn't glasses. They didn't view me as this attractive person. Thank God. God don't exist. So I should say, thank these gutters on this house because they keep the water from coming inside. They do actually serve a purpose. God don't serve shit. But no, I'm grateful. I look back and say, ooh, Lord. I'm so glad them niggas didn't have more interest in me. I was nobody's type. All them niggas dead now. Rejection is protection. Always. Drug using, sex addicts, HIV. Y'all swept through here. HIV swept through this town and did some serious damage to these people. Drugs, crack. My favorite aunt was on drugs and crack cocaine, and I didn't quite understand it myself at that time because I know as an older person, she was on them drugs. You hear stuff and you just ignore it. But all my friends were on drugs back then, all of them. I would go to parties and then people would be passing plates around of drugs and they pass it to me. And wrong person, I keep passing. I don't want that. And I just didn't do it. Goodness, I didn't do it. And of course, I lost some friends along the way because I couldn't come back to this party and they didn't want you to come back here and they didn't want this. I'm like, what? Good. I don't want to come back any damn way, you fucking drug addicts. They're all dead. Dead. I'm about to celebrate my 53rd birthday. A lot of those guys didn't make it to 25. That's 20, almost 30 years ago. Now I'm looking at another generation, guys, who caught up in this pornography, in this escorting, and it's always these white men who are paying these poor guys to do porn to do escorting, to do this stuff. It's always these white guys. I found out just said. Never understood it. You all let these white folks destroy your lives. And I don't care what any of y'all say. I'm sitting here watching this shit. These white guys who control that pornography industry. The white guy who owns OnlyFans, who promotes this stuff. You know, it's just ridiculous. See, you have to remember something. Black men are a fetish to these white guys. So, Max Konner is doing this porn with these white boys. He does a lot of porn with white guys. Bottom and top and whatever's always been the case. He's also been porn with people calling him nigga. I just saw a porn with another guy named Anderson Antonio, a friend I've known for years. Is dating this white boy and they're doing porn now. And this white boy was calling him a nigga and all this stuff. I was thinking, what in the world? What? That's sexual foreplay? That's sexy foreplay or something? Black men have always been a fetish to these white guys since slavery. They give them drugs, money, for sex. I have been approached by white guys. Now they think I'm stupid, honey. Y'all, you couldn't pay me to lay up next to one of them. Ain't enough money on planet Earth. I'm not against white people. I ain't laying next to them under these circumstances. I'm your fetish, and you calling me a nigger? And we over here having sex? Why in the world would I do such a thing? Why? What would be the point? Why? Makes you wonder. It may. I don't know. Please forgive me, y'all. I'm reading something. Somebody, this insurance company just sent me this damn text over PIEC. I apologize. Well, Max. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. This video, I mean, I apologize because y'all, my mind was taken back by this shit this insurance company just sent me. But let me get back on track. All right, so listen. I apologize for that. If y'all going to do porn, if you're going to Max, if you're going to get away from that whole industry, you want to get away from doing drugs. You gotta leave these people behind you. I left a lot of friends behind, y'all. I literally was living in an apartment complex with a friend of mine. His name was Robert Harris. I came home one night. Me and Robert lived in the West. We were best of friends. It was a rocky friendship, too. Probably a friendship that probably shouldn't have taken place. I came home one night. Robert was in the apartment. We had this beautiful apartment in a high-rise on West Peachtree Street, overlooking the Arts Center train station. I came home one night, and Robert was sitting in that apartment smoking crack. with a group of other guys. And they saw me, because I wasn't supposed to be there. I showed up early. And they were like, oh, Walter's here. And I saw them in this, we didn't have a balcony or a patio. They were in the sunroom, literally was a little sunroom off the front of the townhouse of the apartment. And I loved, and he was sitting on my furniture smoking crack. So I just kind of looked and went into the bedroom. I never forget this, I was coming from the gym. I went into the bedroom, and I took a shower, and I opened up all the windows of the room, and I laid there watching TV in total shock. And I realized I cannot stay in this environment. I got up off that couch, drove around the corner to an apartment complex. It was called Charlie Square. I went in there and I sat down. It was a black chick, and I told her, I said, I'm in a situation. I have a roommate. He's been smoking crack. And she said, really? I said, I got to get out of there. I need something like today. She said, well, I can get you approved very quickly. You have your ID, blah, 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 blah. We sat there. We went through everything. That day, that black chick, I'll never forget her ass at Charlie Square. She approved my apartment that day. She got everything done for me. That day, I walked out of that leasing office with that key. I didn't say anything to Robert. I called the moving company. They said they can be there in the morning. I never said anything to Robert about what I was doing. The next morning, Robert had to go someplace. He got up and left. Right after he took off and left, the moving company called me literally within 3 minutes. It was like maybe a miracle was taking place. I didn't want to deal with Robert. Now I was leaving, y'all. When I got, listen. Anyway, the moving company came and moved all my stuff, and I moved into my apartment. Literally, yeah, I'll move in a heartbeat. It just, walking into that home and seeing them smoking crack in there, in my home, on my furniture, and the smell of it, I never forgot that. Because he had never done something like this before. But I realized he was spiraling into a very bad situation. After I moved, not soon after that, Robert stole a brand new Ford Mustang from the garage. He went to a Ford dealership, high on drugs, obviously, to test drive a brand new Ford and just drove off in the car. And kept it like it was his car and drove around Atlanta in his Mustang. And I would see him and I said, this boy is really driving this car. And I had, basically, he told me what he did. And we didn't have cell phones or nothing back then. It's in the early 90s. This was like 92, 93. No, this was 90. This has to be 92. So I ended up buying my house in 1993. It was in the midst of all this shit I met Tony Bowens. Robert would come to the club in that car. Stolen vehicle that he stole from the Ford Mustang convertible GT. He took a test drive on and drove off and never took it back. Anyway, he ended up going to prison behind us because he took the Ford Mustang someplace and he had all these wheels, expensive wheels, but he wrote a check for it. And it turns out the place was owned by a police officer or something of that nature. And they began trying to find his car. And they found him at a Taco Bell. I never forget this. He was at a Taco Bell getting something to eat, and all these police officers ran up in there, and they were looking for that car. And it was off Howell Mill Road, and he was arrested. I remember his mom calling, oh my God, they arrested Robert. And he in his car, did you know that car was stolen? I said, I'm thinking to myself, Miss Harris, you didn't realize your son had stolen that car from a Ford dealership and was driving around the car like it was it because he was so hot on drugs. He was out of his fucking mind. He was out of his mind. So I had to separate myself from that lifestyle, from dealing with these people. I had to. There was so much shit going on back then. I was like, I can't do this. And if Max thinks that he's going to be able to continue down that path of doing pornography and clubbing and partying and hanging out in them streets and doing all this stuff, and hanging around in white boys that are fueling his cocaine addiction, who paying for the coke, paying for him to have sex with them, paying for, listen, this lifestyle, I know what lifestyle he's living. I know a lot of these guys live that lifestyle. If he thinks that he's going to be able to resolve his issues by staying deeply intertwined in that bullshit, well, I wish him the best. Max, I wish you well. Because I hope that you do wake up and realize if you continue down this path, you're going to end up dead. You're going to end up in a casket. That's how it always ends for these guys. Because they get deeper and deeper, they come off drugs, they get back on, they get off, and it gets harder and harder to fight this drug addiction. None of them go see therapists and go get help. None of them go into therapy or a drug rehabilitation center. It just doesn't happen. You know how we black folks are about this type of stuff. And if you're surrounded by people who are enabling you, you'll never resolve your issues. So I apologize for taking that text in the middle of that video, but y'all. And also I apologize for making this video so long. I hope people get my message is clear. You try to improve your life and get away from these drugs and all this stuff, you have got to separate yourself. Separate yourself from the bullshit. You got to leave everything around you that's enabling you to do this. The porn industry has to be stopped. You have to find another way to have income. And that is the biggest issue here, because if you're so used to using pornography and escorting and prostitution for an income, what do you do now? What do you do now? How do you reinvent yourself? Most people stop doing porn and become pastors of a church. That might be a good start there. Start there. How do you reinvent yourself? How do you stay sober enough and clear enough mind to even begin a new career? Maybe go to school. Maybe do something different. And that's why some people get stuck in that lifestyle. They get stuck and they can't get out. And it ends up destroying them and then killing them. I've seen it 1,000 times. Well, but these are just my thoughts and opinions. Y'all don't pay me no attention. I'm just a crazy man with this shirt off on the internet drinking some cold coffee. About to go give me some warm coffee, take these dogs, feed their ass. The rain didn't stop. It's a beautiful day outside. The rain didn't stop finally. It's beautiful outside. Let's see, the sun coming out. Let's go out here. It's gorgeous out here. And see, ain't no drugs over here. Now I ain't doing no coke, no marijuana, no methamphetamine, no Molly, no ecstasy, no Xanax pills getting high off of, no none of that shit. I've seen it destroy everybody around me. Why the fuck would I do that? Why would I walk down that path? I like prettiness. You hear them birds chirping? They ain't smoking weed either. Ain't that right, bird? They having a good old life. But they all down here suffering on earth. But the rain is stopping. Finally, it's nice out here. Hopefully the sun will come out and it will be a gorgeous, beautiful day on this beautiful planet. Anyway, today is Saturday, April 1st. It's getting close to my birthday. It's 2023. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Now the sun came out. But y'all, think about your lives and what you're doing. I hate the fact that so many black gay guys are caught up in all this bullshit. But what can I do and say to them? They don't hear shit I got to say. They don't. I just keep my distance and keep moving. I don't have a choice. That's all I can do. I keep seeing people want to get involved in this escort and muscle worship and all this stuff. They think, he making money. It's not going to end well for these guys. Everybody I know going down that path, it never ends well for them. It's a disaster. I guess they all have to find out on their own. I'm grateful I don't have a drug problem. Never had one and don't plan on getting one. And I'll be, like I say, 53 a few days. Don't get ready for go on my cruise. Anyway, today is Saturday, April 1st, the year 2023. This video is a lot longer than I wanted. But enjoy this beautiful day. It's gorgeous out here. The sun is out. The rain has stopped. The clouds are gone. Enjoy this Saturday. I'm out.